Riddhi. So that is not within our capacity because we have accumulated how much of contamination? Millions of lives, tons of dirt. बहुत मुश्किल है. So therefore, only Krishna can do that, but we have to put our efforts, our small, insignificant efforts. And that's what Lord Brahma is telling Narada, that now I describe to you about the Leela Avtaras, and by hearing about which we can get cleansed, our consciousness can get cleansed. And that's why from this chapter, in this chapter, he is describing scheduled incarnations with specific functions, chapter 7. Let's recite the first verse. Brahmovacha. Okay, together. Yatro yatakshiti talodhara krodem tanum sakalayakyamim anantaha antar mahanava upagatam adidekyam dandam sriyadrim ivabachradharo dadara. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodak, the first demon Hiranyaksha appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. So this is the overview of the chapter. So the first 39 verses, Lord Brahma is giving a list of various incarnations. 25 verses actually he describes the various Leela Avtaras. From the 26th verse, 26 to 35, is specifically activities of Lord Krishna. And then after that he also describes Vyasdev, Buddha, Kalki, so all that he describes till verse number 39. And so all these incarnations will be later discussed in detail in the various cantos of the Bhagavatam to come. And so therefore what we are going to do is we're just going to read the translations, and if there are some important points from the purports, we'll focus on that, because essentially all of them will be discussed in detail in the later cantos. Okay. 40 to 46, Vishnu's mercy required to understand his greatness. So Brahma is specifically talking about how the Supreme Lord is so great that even the greatest of personalities like Brahma and Shiva cannot understand him. The only way to understand him is through his mercy. 47 to 49, superiority of Bhagavan over Brahman and Paramatma realizations. And 50 to 53, the need for discussing the creation pastimes that were already discussed before, and of course will be discussed in further cantos also. So this is a brief overview of the entire chapter. And so 39 verses, so we request each one of you can read one translation and pass on. Okay. क्या हो गया?
लाइट बंद कर ले।
नहीं और कुछ नहीं यहाँ पे, अभी सिर्फ सुनना है. Okay, we already read the translation to the first verse, and in this purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, an important aspect of Srila Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada's purports is that Srila Prabhupada always includes points for personal application, an aspect which Srila Prabhupada has included within his purports. And so therefore, following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, it is important for us also to discuss these points of personal and preaching application. Okay? Because ultimately, the knowledge of Shastra is not a matter of simply theoretical understanding. It's not simply, there are many theologists in the world, theology. People who understand the theology, the philosophy. But then, we are supposed to go one step ahead and also understand how to apply this knowledge within our own lives and help others to apply the knowledge. So if that does not take place, then what is the use of simply a theoretical understanding? And that is what we find. Srila Prabhupada, whenever he gets a chance, he will always put points for personal application, preaching application. So here, it's talking about Baradev, and you can see what interesting points Prabhupada is talking about. So he's saying, the floating of the planets in the weightless air is due to the inner constitution of the globes, and the modernized drilling of the earth to exploit oil from within is a sort of disturbance by the modern demons and can result in a greatly harmful reaction to the floating condition of the earth. A similar disturbance was created formerly by the demons headed by Hiranyaksha, in brackets, the great exploiter of the gold rush. These are very specific terms, modern terms which Prabhupada uses. And the earth was detached from its weightless condition and fell down into the Garbhoda ocean. So in other words, Prabhupada is comparing the modern demons to Hiranyaksha. So just like Hiranyaksha created disturbance by his trying to extract gold as much as possible because of greed. So similarly, the modern people who are also greedy to extract oil and so many things and exploit the earth, then they are also going to cause great trouble and disturbance to the earth. So this is one point Srila Prabhupada is talking about. This is from preaching application point of view. So how we need to inform people that they should not become exploiters of the earth. First verse of Vishwapanishad. Ishavasyanidam sarvam Jagat. Two words mixed up. Yes, yad kinchit jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita agrida asya. So one has to, understanding that everything belongs to Isha, one has to accept only that much as is one's quota. So when one understands that I'm not supposed to become greedy because nothing belongs to me, so therefore how much ever one is destined to get, if one is satisfied with that, then that is the Ishavasya principle. Then it won't create disturbance. So in the modern day we find why there are wars, so many wars, so much disturbance. Why? Exploitation, greed. So I think it was Mahatma Gandhi who said, there is enough in the world for everyone's need, but not for one man's greed. So Hiranyaksha, demoniac people, symptom, they epitomize greed. And so therefore when there is greed, then they cause a lot of disturbance. So that was Hiranyaksha, and even in the modern day we find the same thing. People are not satisfied, greedy, therefore there's war, therefore people want to attack somebody else, get as much as they want. So this is the greed. Then how can there be peace when people are greedy? Another important point in the next paragraph of the book, Srila Prabhupada talks about incarnations. Such is the symptom of an incarnation of the Lord. The incarnation of the Lord is not the concocted idea of fanciful men who create an incarnation out of imagination. Okay, the incarnation of the Lord appears under certain extraordinary circumstances like the above mentioned occasion, and incarnation performs a task which is not even imaginable by the tiny brain of mankind. Okay, so superhuman activities the incarnation performs. And so therefore the incarnation is not someone who is concocted. And towards the end, Srila Prabhupada talks about how Hiranyaksha was killed by Baradev. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the demon Hiranyaksha was killed by the hand of the Lord. Therefore, his version is that after being killed by the hand of the Lord, the demon was pierced by the tusk, because in one place it is said that he was killed by the tusk. So the acharyas are combining both of them, reconciling. So first he killed with the hand and then pierced. So both are done. Srila Vishnu Chakra. Okay, please read the translation of the second verse.
The Prajapati first begot Suyagna in the womb of his wife Aputi, and then Suyagna begot demigods headed by Suyama in the womb of his wife Dakshina. Suyagna, as the Indradeva, diminished very great miseries in the three planetary systems, upper, lower, and intermediate. And because he so diminished the miseries of the universe, he was later called Hari by the great father of mankind, namely Swayambhuva.
Okay. So this is Daksha. So Daksha he begot Suyagni and the moment. He served as Indra. Okay, fine. Next, text 3.
In the previous verse, symptom of an incarnation mentioned as the one who performs superhuman activities. But then that doesn't become like a criteria because we see even magicians or even yogis performing.
One of the criteria. The most confirming criterion which Prabhupada speaks about later on in the fourth canto of the Bhagavatam, Prithu Maharaj section. He says the most important criteria to recognize an incarnation is what? Yes, it must be mentioned in the scriptures. That is the most important thing. And then of course superhuman activities, all that. And then when, if you remember, when we were discussing the first verse of the Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his talks with Sanatana Goswami, if you remember the first verse of the Bhagavatam, we divided into two parts. What are they? Say that? Yes, Swarup Lakshana and Tatastha Lakshana. And so therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that that's how an incarnation is recognized, by the presence of both Swarup Lakshana and Tatastha Lakshana. So the Swarup Lakshana constitutes what? So the Swarup Lakshana indicates the constitutional position. So Akriti, Prakriti. So basically it indicates the constitutional position of the avatar, that he is not material. Indicating the Prakriti. Prakriti means the Sachidananda Swarup of the incarnation. That's one aspect. And the Tatastha Lakshana indicates the activities. So therefore everything has to be taken into consideration. It's not one thing. Okay, fine. Please read the third one. Okay, we'll take it later.
The Lord then appeared as the Kapila incarnation, being the son of the Prajapati Brahmana Kardama and his wife Devahuti, along with 9 other women, sisters. He spoke to his mother about self-realization, by which, in that very lifetime, she became fully cleansed of the mud of the material modes and thereby achieved liberation, the path of Kapila.
Okay, fine. So this is Lord Kapila, son of Kardama and Devahuti, and all details, great details are mentioned in the third canto. So we are not going into those details right now. Okay, fourth.
The great sage Atri prayed for offspring, and the Lord, being satisfied with him, promised to incarnate as Atri's son, Dattatreya, Datta, the son of Atri. And by the grace of the lotus feet of the Lord, many Yadus, Harihayas, etc. became so purified that they obtained both material and spiritual blessings.
Okay, that's Datta. This also comes in one of the later cantos. Here, Srila Prabhupada explains how the Lord takes more pleasure in becoming the son of a devotee than in becoming one's father. Why? Because the Lord also accepts a service from the devotee, and thus the devotee becomes more than the Lord. The impersonal desire to become one with the Supreme, but the devotee becomes more than the Lord, surpassing the desire of the greatest monist. So the impersonalists want to become one with the Lord, but devotees become more than the Lord. How? Yes, so they take the position of father. Mother Yashoda is chastising Krishna. So that is how the devotee becomes even greater than the Lord. Okay, fifth.
To create different planetary system, I had to undergo austerities and penance. And the Lord, thus being pleased with me, incarnated in four sanas: Sanak, Sanat Kumar, Sanandan, and Sanatan. In the previous creation, the spiritual truth was devastated, but the four sanas explain it so nicely that the truth at once became clearly perceived by the sages.
Okay, these are for the four Kumaras. This also comes later on in the third canto. Okay, sixth.
To exhibit his personal way of austerity and penance, he appeared in twin forms as Narayana and Nara in the womb of Murti, the wife of Dharma, and the daughter of Daksha. Celestial beauties, the companions of Cupid, went to try to break his vows, but they were unsuccessful, for they saw that many beauties like them were emanating from him, the personality of Godhead.
So this is about Naranarayan, Rishi, and they perform severe austerity and penance. And as usual, Indra got disturbed, and he sent home. He sent many apsaras, I suppose, right? He sent Cupid. Huh? Yeah, so any case, and then of course, Nana and Rishi produced celestial apsaras like Urvashi. And so, right, Cupid, I think, right? Yes, Cupid, yes. Yes, celestial beauty is the companions of Cupid went to try Yes, so Nana and Rishi said, okay, we have something better to offer you. Here Srila Prabhupada speaks quite a lot about brahmacharya.
Yeah.
So Srila Prabhupada writes, human life is meant for such tapasya, the great vow of celibacy or brahmacharya. In the rigid life of tapasya, there is no place for the association of women. And then Srila Prabhupada writes, during the first stage of life up to 25 years of age, a man may be trained as a brahmachari under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, just to understand that woman is the real binding force in material existence. If one wants to get freedom from the material bondage of conditional life, he must get free from the attraction for the form of women. So this is specifically referring to brahmacharis who are men. Otherwise, attraction is both ways. But then since Prabhupada is speaking about brahmacharya, so he's speaking about women. So this is the important aspect of the training. The important aspect of the training is that to get freedom from this attraction for the form of women. Women or the fair sex is the enchanting principle for the living entities, and the male form, especially in the human being, is meant for self-realization. The whole world is moving under the spell of womanly attraction, and as soon as a man becomes united with a woman, he at once becomes a victim of material bondage under a tight knot. And then after that, the desire for acquiring house, possessing land, having children, becoming prominent in society, affection for community, place of birth, hankering for wealth, which are all like phantasmagoria or illusory dreams, encumber a human being, and he is thus impeded in his progress towards self-realization, the real aim of life. So which is this verse? Bhagavatam verse. Pumsa surya mithune bhavametam tayor mitho hridaya grantimaho atha griha kshetra suta apta vitte janasya mohoyam aham mameti. So as soon as man and woman unites, then there is granti, there is a hard knot, a very tight knot within the heart, because the tendency to enjoy, which is already deep-rooted, that tendency increases as soon as the man and woman come together. Then the desire to lord it over, the desire to enjoy simply increases. And then when they come together, as Prabhupada writes in other places, three means what? One who expands. So immediately the expansions come. All these are expansions. What? Griha, Kshetra, Suta, Apta, Vitte. So all these are expansions that immediately come as soon as the man and woman come together. And as a result of all this, what happens? Bondage increases. Bondage increases. And so therefore, Srila Prabhupada is saying that progress towards self-realization becomes impeded as a result of this. And so therefore, the important training as a brahmachari is to restrict the association with women. That is the important aspect. And of course, Srila Prabhupada explains that because the whole aim, the goal of Varnashram itself is what? What is the goal of Varnashram? Yes, Samskritit Haritoshna. The ultimate goal of Varnashram is self-realization, pleasing the Supreme Lord. That's the ultimate goal. And so therefore among the 4 ashramas, 3 ashramas totally restrict association with women. Okay? And the Grihastha ashram, there also there is restriction, but only what? License. But only license. License means what? Restriction. So only restricted association with women is allowed in Grihastha ashram. So therefore, the human form of life essentially is meant for self-realization, realization of the Supreme Lord, establishing one's relationship with the Supreme Lord. This is the main goal of the human form of life. And so therefore, in the Brahmachari ashram, the goal must be very clear as to why am I here. So if the goal is very clear, then one will be fixed in trying to achieve the goal. The prayojan must be very clear. Just like we find students, those who have their prayojan as entering into IIT, then what they do? Yes, coaching classes. Since when? Actually, I was in a place recently, and there one of our devotees is running coaching classes for all these students preparing for IIT. And so the coaching begins from 6th standard. When the children are in 6th standard, coaching begins.
These days restricted. These days age restriction they have put. Government said after 16 only they will things like that. Some rule has come recently.
So 6th standard is what age? So I was telling him, why you are burdening these children from such a young age? So he said, no, we are not burdening. Only those who are capable we take. Anyways, so the point is, so both parents and children, they are ready to work so hard. Why? Prayojan is very clear. Okay. Getting into IIT is as good as entering into spiritual world. For them. That is prayojan. So therefore, then they work for it because prayojan is very clear. So similarly, our prayojan must be clear. So if our prayojan is clear, as Prabhupada is writing here, self-realization, God realization, this is prayojan. So the prayojan is very clear, then whatever is needed to work for it, then one does it. The brahmachari or a boy from the age of 5 years, especially from the higher castes, namely Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, is trained until 25 years of age under the care of a bona fide guru or teacher and under strict observance of discipline, he comes to understand the values of life along with taking specific training for a livelihood. So as we all know the famous verse, Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Guror Hitam Ajanan Neecha Dasa. Yes, Guru Sodrida Sudrida Sodrida. Yes. So this is the training, as Prabhupada is writing here also, strict observance of discipline. So therefore, the training has to be there. It is not just about staying, but the training has to be there. The discipline has to be there. So if the training is not there, the discipline is not there, and one's life is meant for what? Guror Hitam. Same thing Prabhupada is writing here. Under the care of a bona fide guru or teacher, under strict observance of discipline. So those aspects of brahmacharya have to be there. As long as Giraj Maharaj writes in his book, the Juhu story, about that pastime. I think we discussed it last time also. About how when the senior devotees were staying in a separate apartment. No, not Akash. So they were staying in a separate apartment after they got the Jew land, and then they had to go to the lawyers and courts and all that. So they were staying in a separate apartment, the Mahakrishna Maharaj, Giraj Maharaj, Shyamsundar Prabhu and one or two more devotees. And they were not having any morning program because they were too busy. And then Srila Prabhupada came, and then he also stayed in that same apartment. And Srila Prabhupada saw that they were not having any morning program. And so Srila Prabhupada asked the Mahakrishna Maharaj, so why there's no morning program? The Mahakrishna Maharaj said, Srila Prabhupada, there are no guests coming. So Srila Prabhupada said, okay, there are no guests, but what about you? So then Srila Prabhupada says that, see, even the materialistic person, they get up in the morning, they go to office and they come back and eat and sleep. So then what is the difference between you and them? And then Prabhupada says, this is postal mess. Postal mess. So what's the difference? So if the discipline is not there, then Brahmacharya ashram becomes what? Hostel. Hostel. There's no difference. Just stay together, do some work, eat and sleep. Hostel. So therefore, that's not the purpose. The purpose is the discipline. The purpose is following the instructions of the Guru and leading a life of brahmacharya in the sense that no association with women. That is the purpose, and that's the purpose of the training in the brahmacharya ashram. And so therefore, to the degree one follows that discipline, who gets the benefit? ISKCON. Guru gets the benefit, correct? Who gets the benefit? Those who follow. Those who follow get the benefit. So therefore, who wants the benefit? So it's good to be selfish in that sense. Prahlad Maharaj is saying that is good selfishness. Nate vidu swartha gati vishu. This is good swartha. स्वार्थी बनना है तो ऐसे स्वार्थी बनो, कोई समस्या नहीं है. Be selfish like this. So this is real swartha for the jivatma by practicing devotional service strictly. So therefore, this is ultimately for my benefit, for our benefit. Whoever follows it gets the benefit, and one can achieve the goal of human life. And then Prabhupada is talking about the two types of brahmacharis, and he says the brahmachari is then allowed to go home and enter householder life, get married to suitable women. But there are many brahmacharis who do not go home to become householders, but continue the life of naishtik brahmacharis without any connection with women, like all of you. So then they accept the order of sannyas or the renounced order of life, knowing well that combination with women is an unnecessary burden. Combination with women is what? Unnecessary burden that checks self-realization. Since sex desire is very strong at a certain stage of life, the Guru may allow the brahmachari to marry. This license is given to a brahmachari who is unable to continue the way of Naishtika brahmacharya, and such discriminations are possible for the bona fide Guru. So that means that discrimination has to be made by Guru. And the Guru should take the decision. The Guru should give the sanction, blessings. So it's not that one decides on one's own. That's what Prabhupada is writing here. And then a householder associated with women under scriptural injunctions after thorough training of brahmacharya cannot be a householder like cats and dogs. Such a householder over 50 years of age would retire from the association of women as a vanaprastha to be trained to live alone without the association of women. And when the practice is complete, the same retired householder becomes sannyasi, strictly separate from women, even from his married wife. Studying the whole scheme of disassociation from women, it appears that a woman is a stumbling block for self-realization. And the Lord appeared as Narayan to teach the principle of womanly disassociation with a vow in life. The demigods, being envious of the austere life of the rigid brahmacharis, would try to cause them to break their vows by dispatching soldiers of Cupid. But in the case of the Lord, it became an unsuccessful attempt when the celestial beauties saw that the Lord can produce innumerable such beauties by his mystic internal potency, and that there was consequently no need to be attracted by others externally. There's a common proverb that a confectioner is never attracted by sweetmeats. The confectioner is always manufacturing sweetmeats, has very little desire to eat them. Similarly, the Lord by his pleasure potential powers can produce innumerable spiritual beauties and not be the least attracted by the false beauties of material creation. So, those are very insignificant beauties for the Lord. The Lord has many more, much more beautiful in Golok Vrindavan. So in any case, so these are some important points Prabhupada is writing here in this purport. And so therefore, there is a possibility that demigods may test the brahmacharis. Prabhupada is writing here. So one must be prepared for the test also. So Haridas Thakur was tested. So how did Haridas Thakur pass the test? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So to the degree one has spiritual strength by the chanting of the holy names, by hearing, chanting, performing services in a way that pleases Guru and Krishna, then one receives the spiritual strength by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, and that is what will protect one. That is what will protect one. Otherwise, yes, the test will definitely come. So we know His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj writes, so he also was tested. By whom? Yes, so Mr. Nair turned out to be maybe on behalf of the demigods. So he tried to test. So what was it that prevented Giriraj Maharaj from doing anything wrong?
Thinking of Srila Prabhupada.
Yes. Loyalty to the Guru. So he was thinking, what will Srila Prabhupada think if I do something wrong? So that is love for the Guru. So when there is love for Guru and Krishna, then one does not want to disgrace them. So then for their pleasure, that is love. That is love. So one does not want to disgrace them. So for their pleasure, then one is ready to go through the austerity. So that's how one tries to control one's mind and senses, because one wants to please Guru and Krishna. That's the goal of our life. And so therefore these are all very important points. So first of all, we need to have good spiritual strength. And that also is obtained by mercy of Guru and Krishna, by following discipline that has been laid down by the Guru. So if we are strictly chanting the holy names, attentively, attending the morning program, if you remember, we had shown you a letter of Srila Prabhupada last time, where Srila Prabhupada wrote, what?
All the mercy of Acharyas.
Within these Vaishnava standards that I have set forth lies the spiritual strength of the entire movement. So before that, Prabhupada wrote, what are those spiritual standards? Chanting 16 rounds, attending morning program, evening program, all that. So within these standards lies the spiritual strength of the movement. Movement means what? ISKCON. Somewhere these walls, ISKCON.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna movement. Where it is? Who's part of the Hare Krishna movement? Somebody outside, right? So if we follow, who will get the spiritual strength? We. Every individual. It applies to every individual. So if we want spiritual strength, then that's from where we get, by following those instructions that Srila Prabhupada. It's not just going to fall from the sky like that. Prabhupada has written there. So, and that's what will protect us. And following all these principles, all these things that Srila Prabhupada has written. Okay, fine. And then Lord Brahma is continuing this point about lust. Okay, continue. Take 7.
Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can, by their breathful glances, overcome lust and vanquish him. Yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord, who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind?
Yes. So here Lord Brahma is saying that so Lord Shiva, so we know how Cupid went to test Lord Shiva also. He went to distract Lord Shiva. So what happened? Yes, Lord Shiva burnt him. But then he became victim of anger. So anger is a result of. So therefore, Krodh is called Kama Anuja, younger brother of Kama, is Krodha. So when Kama is unsatisfied, results in Krodha. So therefore, here Lord Brahma is saying that even great stalwarts like Lord Shiva, okay, even if they may escape Kama, they come under influence of Krodha. But then Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Lord Vishnu, who never even came under the influence of Krodha. In which example? Brihmani. So when Brihmani kicked Lord Vishnu on the chest. So Lord Vishnu never even came under the influence of Krodha. So that's what Lord Brahma is saying. As far as Lord Vishnu is concerned, so he is never affected by either Kama or Krodha. So if he's not affected by Krodha, then how can there be Kama? Because after Kama only there is Krodha. So if Lord Vishnu is never affected by Krodha, then how can there be Kama? That's what he's saying. Kama khatam nupunarasya manashya. How can it's apta Kama. And the last sentence of the purport, the conclusion is that the absolute personality of Godhead is neither lust nor anger. And even if there is sometimes a show of lust and anger by the absolute, it should be considered an absolute benediction. When does the Lord show anger? So in general, when does he show anger? Yes, when the devotees are tormented, when the devotees are harmed, then the Lord becomes angry because of affection for his devotees. That anger is not due to 3 modes. That is not with the influence of 3 modes. So, and even if he becomes angry, Like the demons, he gets angry with the demons, he kills them, then what happens to the demons? They get liberation. So that's what Prabhupada is writing. So even if he becomes angry, that's a benediction. Okay, text 8.
Shiva does not came under the influence of lust, but he came under the influence of anger. How come to like he's above modes and isn't he above the modes?
Okay, so somebody wants to answer this question. So how does Lord Shiva come under the influence of anger? So is he not above the modes?
So in the purport proper there he writes that Lord Moni, he appeared, he was so beautiful that if the great Vaishnava, when he gets attracted to Mohini Murti, then that glorifies the Mohini Murti beauty more. To glorify the Lord's beauty more, that's how he enacted as if he got limited by lust.
Okay, that's in case of Mohini Murti. What about this Prabhupada? He burns stupid Kamadi. He became so angry when? Yes, the Daksha pastime. Sati gave up her life. Became so angry. Veerbhadra. So how do you explain that?
In that pastime of Sati, though, it was like because Sati, Lord Shiva wanted, he was very much disturbed because Sati was, he had gone to protect that and whole thing. So she has gone under the earth. So because of that, same like devotees are like kind of. But in this example, I am also wrong.
See, so Srila Prabhupada writes in the same passage, Srila Prabhupada writes that because Lord Shiva is in charge of Tamogun, therefore occasionally he becomes influenced by Tamogun. So only Lord Vishnu is totally free from the influence of the modes. Nobody else is 100% free from the influence of the modes. Only Lord Vishnu. So therefore we find even Brahma sometimes is influenced by the lower modes. Lord Shiva also sometimes is influenced. Though it is rare, but yes. Okay. So I think so it comes in third canto, yes. Lord Kapila says that only Lord Narayan is free from attraction to women. Kama. Only Lord Narayan, nobody else in his entire creation is free from Kama.
Is this understanding correct that that particular statement, vocational under the mode of ignorance, that is applicable only to Rudra, but not to Sadashiva in a sense. Like Lord Shiva has two kinds of things.
Of course, there Srila Prabhupada doesn't specify. But of course, Rudra definitely. Rudra is for annihilation, then definitely that is the influence of Tamagun. But there, of course, he doesn't distinguish, he says not sure. Okay? Okay, fine. Text 8. Please read.
Being insulted, insulated by a insulted by sharp words spoken by the co-wife of the king. Even in his presence, Prince Dhruva, though only a boy, took a severe penances in the forest. And the Lord, being satisfied by his prayer, awarded him the Dhruva planet, which is worshipped by great sages, both upward and downward.
Okay, so this is Dhruva Maharaj pastime. There, Lord Vasudeva incarnated himself as Prishti Garbha, the personality of God with 4 hands. So that's Dhruva Maharaj pastime. Okay, next.
Maharaj went astray from the path of righteousness, and Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this, King Vena was born with his good deeds and opulences and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son by the name of Prudu, delivered the condemned King Vena from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops as produce.
Hmm. So this Pritha Maharaj Pastime also comes later on in the fourth canto. And but here Srila Prabhupada writes one interesting pastime which is not mentioned in the fourth canto. So almost towards the end of the purport, here Srila Prabhupada quotes from the Vamana Purana how he delivered his father Vena from suffering. And so he actually performed his duty as Putra. Putra means so one who delivers the father from Naraka named Pu. So therefore in this case he actually delivered his father from this misery as a leper. Okay, takes time.
The Lord being as the son of Suru Devi, the wife of King Navi, and was known as Vishnudev. He performed materialistic yoga to balance the mind. This stage is also accepted as the highest perfectional situations of liberation, wherein one is situated in one's self and is completely satisfied.
Okay, so this is Lord Rishabdev, and it said that he performed a process of mystic performance of self-realization that is called a Jada Yoga. So Prabhupada says this Jada Yoga involves practicing becoming like a dumb stone and not being affected by material reactions. And he says that they do many self-infliction methods, practice plucking out the hair on the head without shaving, without any instrumental help. But the real purpose of such Jada Yoga practice is to get free from all material affection and to be completely situated in the self. And then, Lord Rishabdev, he used to pass urine, stool, and then lay in that same urine and stool. So he was doing all this sort of things like an avadut. But then Srila Prabhupada says one cannot imitate these things. But what was the speciality? But the stool of his body was fragrant like smell of fragrant flowers. And a saintly person would recognize him as a Paramahamsa, one in the highest stage of human perfection. So an important point, one who is not able to make his stool fragrant should not however imitate Emperor Rishabh. So in one lecture actually Srila Prabhupada says this is one of the tests to know who is actually incarnation. Prabhupada is a very practical test. If you want to know who is real incarnation, this is a very practical test. So if one is not able to do that, then one cannot imitate Emperor Rishabdev. Okay, so people try to imitate these things, correct? Self-infliction methods. But then one cannot imitate. Yes. Okay, fine.
The Lord appeared as the Hayagriva incarnation in a sacrifice performed by me, Brahma. He is the personified sacrifice, and the hue of his body is golden. He is personified Vedas as well, and the super soul of all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils.
Yes, so this Hayagriva incarnation, this comes in the 11th canto. Next.
At the end of the millennium, the would-be Vaivasvata Manu of the name Satyavrata would see that the Lord in the fish incarnation is the shelter of all kinds of living entities, up to those in the earthly planets. Because of my fear of the vast water at the end of millennium, the Vedas come out of my Brahma's mouth, and the Lord enjoys those vast waters and protects the Vedas.
Okay, so this is Matsya Avatar. I'm just thinking, so what do you think? Should we go through all these translations? Because these are just a list of incarnations. Should we go through them or skip them?
Let us go
Because we also are a little bit short of time. So what do you think? Huh?
It's an important purpose as important point.
Of course, if there's some important points, we'll let you know. But most of them are actually basically just the description of these leelas, which of course come in great details later on. What do you want?
Let us skip.
You can read on your own, right? Okay, fine. You can read on your own.
Just name them.
Okay, good suggestion. We'll take your suggestion. Okay, so the 13th verse is speaking about the Kurma avatar. The Kurma avatar and how the Kurma avatar holds up the Mandara head. Okay, text 14, Lord Narsimdev. There was this devotee named Narsimha. There was one devotee. Huh? Ananta Narsimha. Where is he? That is okay. Where is this Narsimha? Okay, text 15 is Gajendra. And Gajendra's prayers. Prabhupada actually beautifully summarizes Gajendra's prayers in this purport. If anyone wants a nice summary of Gajendra's prayers, this is very beautiful. In one purport, Prabhupada has summarized all the prayers. Very nice. So, text 16 is also continuation of Gajendra's pastime. Here again, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada again brings in a point for preaching application. So here he's mentioning how the Lord resides in the Vaikuntha planet, and he says no one can estimate how far away this planet is situated. It is said, however, that anyone trying to reach that planet by airships or by mind ships, traveling for millions of years, will find it still unknown. Modern scientists have invented airships which are material, and the yogis make a still finer material attempt to travel by mind ships. The yogis can reach any distant place very quickly with the help of mind ships, but neither the airship nor the mind ship has access to the kingdom of God and the Vaikuntha Loka. Some words are very unique. Srila Prabhupada almost invented some words. Mind ship. So of course he's taking it from that Brahma Samhita. What? Pantastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayor athapi manaso muni pongavana sobhyastiyat padasanya vichati ladre govardhanadi purusham. So from there he's taking this mind ship. But then again a point for preaching application, and how one cannot reach that Vaikuntha simply by airships or mind ships. And another point he's making here is again an important point for preaching application, that the Lord is described here as aprameya, for not even the best human brain can estimate his powers and potencies by mathematical calculation. The Lord can hear from such a distant place, he can eat from there, and he can appear simultaneously in all places at a moment's notice. Such is the omnipotency of the Lord. Okay, so the Lord may have been far away in Vaikuntha, but how much time did it take for him to come to save Gajendra? Moments, just moments. So he is present everywhere. So it's not that he has to actually travel from there. He can just manifest. Then text 17 is speaking of Vamandev. So a good lesson Prabhupada gives at the end of the purport. So by giving everything to the cause of the Lord, one does not lose anything, but he gains everything that he could never otherwise expect. Right? So we know Bali Maharaj. So he gave everything, but what did he get in return? Lord became doorman. So that's how one is never a loser by giving to the Lord. So therefore, if we give everything, our entire life, we give to the Supreme Lord. No loss. Sometimes brahmacharis get insecure. What will happen? सब कुछ दे दिया, बाद में क्या होगा? कुछ रखना चाहिए ना, थोड़ा तो रखना चाहिए ना बैंक में. बाद में क्या होगा किसको? So, no. If one surrenders, no loss. There is no loss. But the less we surrender, then Krishna will say, okay. So we often give the example of Draupadi. So Draupadi, as long as she was holding on to sari, what happened? Lord didn't appear. Okay, you want to try on your own, you try. No problem. But only when she threw both her hands in the air, then the Lord. So therefore the important point is that, yes, so there's no need of any feelings of insecurity or what will happen. Lord is Lakshmipati. What can he not give? What can he not give? Only thing that is required is faith. I don't know if I mentioned to you before, but there was one brahmachari in some other place. So he also had this insecurity problem. बूढ़ा होने पर क्या होगा? सब बूढ़ा होने वाले हैं, क्या होगा? Who knows? In ISKCON somebody will take care of it. Everyone is busy in their own world. Who will take care? लगता है ना कभी? हाँ? What is that?
It appears everyone is busy.
Everyone is busy with their own business. So the latter question, who will take care of the may not come. But then the dot.
What is that? Yeah, आपका mystery क्या है?
It is that many devotees have that question. So not spoken.
Oh, that is your underlying meaning. So many have the doubt, but it is unspoken truth. That's what you're trying to say.
Unspoken question.
Oh, unspoken question. So then what happened? So the brahmachari got married, and then so after some days he had children, and both the children were daughters. So then what happened? सबको पता है क्या होगा? So daughters went. So he's back to square A. He's still alone. So ultimately, who has who? Who will take care of whom ultimately? Nobody can take care of anyone else. Dehavatya kalatradishu apnasaineshu vasatsvapi tesham pramutta nidhanam pashyati. So ultimately, all deha, apatya, kala, adishu, everyone is what? Fallible soldiers who cannot even protect themselves. What will they protect others? So it's only an illusion. It's only an illusion. In illusion, one thinks, oh, he will take care. अरे खुद को नहीं बचा सकते दूसरा क्या? So therefore, one must have full confidence. Lord is there to take care. And that's what Narad Muni told Yudhishthir Maharaj. When? Yes, when Dhritarashtra and Gandhari went to the forest, Yudhishthir Maharaj was fearing who will take care of them in the forest. Narada said, don't worry. The Lord who takes care of all the animals in the jungle will take care of them also. And so therefore, Srila Prabhupada in so many lectures he says, the African elephants, they eat 40 kilos, few tons every time. Who's providing? So if Krishna can provide for those elephants there, why won't he take care of the devotees? And surely he'll take care of the brahmacharis, right? Who get sadhu bhojan every day. At least that should give faith. When there were so many people to give for sadhu bhojan, So why should one have any sense of insecurity? Whether that is sadhu bhojan or more than sadhu bhojan, that's another question. But whatever it is, so there are enough people, right? Can we get enough people are there? Hmm. Okay. So we'll just finish till. So till 25 verses we'll finish before we take a break, right? Okay, that ends one section. Okay, quickly read till verse number 25. One person read, so there's no wastage of time. Read quickly. No, we are not reading, no? Oh, we are not reading, right? Okay, text 18. Text 18 is again the same thing, Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj and okay, here another interesting point. Prabhupada is writing at the end of the first paragraph. When the Lord snatches away one's hard-earned material possessions and favors one with his personal transcendental service for eternal life, bliss and knowledge, such taking away by the Lord should be considered special favor upon such a pure devotee. Yasyam Anugrandami Harishya. In another lecture, Prabhupada says, when Krishna wants to snatch, Krishna has 10 hands. You have 2 hands. So if Krishna wants to snatch, how much you can hold with your 2 hands? And also another point also holds true. What is that? Yes, if Krishna wants to give, he gives with 10 hands. How much you can hold with 2 hands? So both cases apply. So therefore, in the next paragraph, Prabhupada writes, the same man knows that all material possessions are temporary, and the best use of such possessions is to engage them in the service of the Lord, so the Lord may be pleased with him and award him a permanent place in his Param Dham. Further now, Prabhupada is writing, the more one spiritually advances by devotional service to the Lord in exchange for his temporary possessions, the more one is freed from the attachment of material illusion. To achieve this stage of life, one must be firmly convinced about spiritual existence and its permanent effects. To know exactly the permanency of spiritual existence, one must voluntarily practice what? Possessing less or only the minimum to maintain one's material existence without difficulty. One should not create artificial needs that will help one be satisfied with the minimum. Artificial needs of life are activities of the senses. Okay, so important point, important lesson from this pastime of Bali Maharaj and Vamandev is what? Lord Vamandev himself says, for a person who has uncontrolled mind and senses, even if he is given the 3 worlds, still he won't be satisfied. But then, if a Brahmana is dissatisfied, what is the result? We mentioned it last time. What's that?
Leakage.
What leaks? कुछ तो लीक होता है. अरे क्या लीक होता है बताना चाहिए. Spiritual what? Spiritual knowledge diminishes. If a Brahmana is dissatisfied, then his mind will be hovering around what? Sense objects. Why is dissatisfied? Is dissatisfied because he wants something. And so if the mind is wandering, ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, वो चाहिए, हरे कृष्ण चल रहा है, मन कहाँ पर है? वो चाहिए, वो चाहिए. So then what happens? All the spiritual knowledge reduces. Just like pouring water on fire. Spiritual knowledge reduces. Therefore, very important quality for a Brahmana is satisfaction, austerity of the mind. One of the principles of austerity of the mind is santushta. Santushta satatam yogi. Yogi is supposed to be santushta. Then only you can progress on the spiritual path. If he is hankering for too many material things, he cannot be satisfied. Okay. Text 19. So text 19 is about Hamsa Avatar. Hamsa Avatar. That also comes later on in the Bhagavatam. here important point Prabhupada writes here is the preliminary qualification for entering into the devotional service of the Lord is that one become a willing cooperator. Beautiful words Prabhupada uses in his purpose. We should learn these words and use them as Prabhupada used. Willing cooperator. Not forced. जबरदस्ती नहीं, स्वेच्छा से, willing cooperator. And as such, one should voluntarily cooperate with persons who are already engaged in the transcendental devotional service of the Lord. By cooperating with such persons, the prospective candidate will gradually learn the techniques of devotional service, and with the progress of such learning, one becomes proportionately free from the contamination of material association. See such amazing statements. These are realized statements. So one has to become willing cooperator. Cooperate with whom? What Prabhupada said? Cooperate with whom? Cooperate with the devotees who are already engaged in devotional service. Cooperate with Guru and the Vaishnavas. And now that Guru is telling one thing, disciple is doing something else. No. So when one cooperates with the Guru, with the Vaishnavas, what is the result of that cooperation?
Proportionately free from.
Yes. So then one becomes proportionately free from the contamination of material association. This is the way. So things are not going to happen just automatically. Divya Gyan, Hridaya Prakashito. So transcendental knowledge is revealed within the heart when the Guru is pleased. So therefore, if one wants to become free from material association, material contamination, so it's not just going to happen like that. So therefore, it's not about what service we do. It is not about how much service we do. It is not about what sadhana we do. It is not about how we are doing the sadhana. Everything has to ultimately please Guru and Krishna. So, somebody may do a lot of tapasya like yogis in the Himalayas. But Prabhupada says in one lecture, no, there is no need for that. You can achieve much more than those yogis by staying in Los Angeles. How?
By pleasing the.
Yes. As Prabhupada says, by becoming what? Willing cooperator with the Lord and His devotees. So if one becomes like that, then all the blessings will come. That is the only way by which one can become free from material association, material contamination. So therefore, so many times devotees ask these questions. Somebody may have been practicing for many years, still why there are problems. It's not the question of quantity. It is the question of quality. It's not the question of quantity. So there has to be quality. There are many purports where Prabhupada has written, the devotional service must be performed in a way that is pleasing to Guru and Krishna. Not pleasing to me. मुझे अच्छा लगता है इसलिए मैं ये सेवा करूंगा. And then one can do volumes of service like that. And sometimes what happens when the disciple says मुझे ये करना ही है, Guru says do it. But is that pleasing? So therefore, devotional service means samsiddhi haridoshana. That is the bottom line. That is the crux of the whole matter. It's not about how much. Prabhupada, so many lectures, Prabhupada says, Krishna doesn't want your service. Krishna doesn't need your service. Why? Lakshmi, Sahasrashata Sambrama Sevima. He has hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis to serve. He doesn't need our food, he doesn't need our building, he doesn't need anything. What does he want?
Love.
The only thing that he requires is bhakti. The only thing that he requires is love. And so therefore, when the service is performed with love to please Guru and Krishna, then that's when the blessings and the mercy come. That's when the purification, the transformation, all that takes place. Then, as Prabhupada is writing here, proportionately, by cooperating with such persons, the prospective candidate will gradually learn the techniques of devotional service, and with the progress of such learning, one becomes proportionately free from the contamination of material association. So, important points. Okay. So, text 20, this is incarnation of Manu. Okay. So, the Lord comes in Manvantara avatar. So, in every Manvantar, the Lord comes as Manvantara avatar. So, he's speaking about Manvantara avatar. Next, speaking about that. In the purport, Prabhupada speaks about the number of Brahmas and all that. Okay, text 21 is incarnation of Dhanvantri. Okay, another interesting point. Some important points in this purport. Prabhupada is writing the body is the symbol of diseases. It is said, Shariram Vyadi Mandiram. Prahlad Maharaj also says something similar. So, body is symbol of diseases. So, nobody can escape. Nobody can escape. So sometimes devotees also tend to spend too much time for the body, thinking that I'll make the body totally free from disease. Kabhi hone wala nahi. It's not possible. Pranayam karo, ye karo, wo karo, upar niche sab kuch karo. One can do the needful, no problem, but not thinking that point will come when I'll be totally free. Kabhi hone wala nahi. So now, even if one wants that, how to do it? See what Prabhupada is writing below. So, anyway, the next sentence is also interesting. The disease may differ from one variety to another. But disease must be there. Variety change होता है. Today one type of disease, get it cured, tomorrow another variety will come. That's what we see practically. In our life also, others' lives also, that's what it is. So, by the grace of the personality of Godhead, not only are diseases of the body and mind cured, but also the soul is relieved of the constant repetition of birth and death. So how one can be cured? By the grace of the Supreme. So even if one wants to be free from physical disease, what is required? Grace of the Lord. Even if one wants to be cured of physical disease, what to speak of mental disease and spiritual disease? Grace of the Lord is required, otherwise nothing is going to happen. Just like we know, Vasudeva the leper, he had such severe leprosy, worms. Then what happened? Mahaprabhu embraced him, cured. So ultimately, it depends on the grace of the Lord. Otherwise, how much ever we try, may not work. The name of the Lord is also called Bhava Aushadhi, or the source of curing the disease of material existence. Okay. Text 22 is Parshuram. So we know about Parshuram and how he punished the Kshatriyas. Here Prabhupada says that so when Lord Parshuram was punishing them, and they fled away to other countries. And he says the kings of Egypt originally migrated from India because of Parshuram's program of chastisement. And then text 23 is Lord Ram. Okay. Text 23 and 24 both are speaking about Lord Ram. Yes, you have been hearing a lot about Lord Ram. Here, there's a very, very interesting purport actually, the purport of text 24. It's a very interesting purport. Actually, based on this purport, we had an entire Brahmachari class in Pune. Anyway, things for you to contemplate on. But Prabhupada begins the purport by saying, the personality of Godhead has every sentiment of a sentient being like all other living beings because it's the chief and original living entity, the supreme source of all the creations. The important point here is, so here is mentioned how the Lord, he became so angry at the ocean, correct? He became so angry that the ocean water started boiling and all the aquatics in the ocean became disturbed. So the Lord has had so much anger. Why? Because he had a service to do and the ocean was not cooperating. So anyway, the important point here is that how the Lord has feelings. The Lord is not impersonal. He is a person with feelings. So therefore, okay, it's not here. So in another place, Prabhupada says, yes, that's in the third canto, Varade Pastor. So there should Prabhupada say, so the Lord, if one does some nice service, offers nice prayers, the Lord is pleased. And when one does something demoniac, the Lord becomes angry. He's a person. So therefore, one cannot think that I will do anything anyway. कुछ तो सेवा करना है, कुछ तो करूँगा. No. Lord is a person. So just like today there was nice big feast. How many of you were happy with the feast? I think so some are having after effects of the feast. So if somebody offers nice feast, one is pleased, right? That means what? When there is quality service, one is happy. So similarly, the Lord is also happy when there is quality service, any service. And when there is no quality, God is not pleased. And then proportionately there will be reciprocation. Proportionately. To the degree we please the Lord, to that degree we get the Lord's mercy. This is science. Can't avoid it. 2 plus 2 is always equal to 4. And 25 is again Lord Ramchandra and how he killed Ravana. Okay. 26, from 26 till 35, this entire section is pastimes of Lord Krishna. Okay, so all these are pastimes of Lord Krishna, which will come in great details later on. Till 35. So, in purport to text 33, Prabhupada writes an interesting statement. He says we should carefully note that statements described herein are the statements of Brahmaji to Narada, and he was speaking to Narada of events that would happen in the future during the advent of Lord Krishna. The pastimes of the Lord are known to the experts who are able to see past, present, and future, and Brahmaji being one of them foretold what would happen in the future. So here Brahma is speaking to Narada. The pastimes have not yet taken place. They will come in the future, but Brahma knows everything, past, present, future. So that's till 35. 36 is incarnation of Krishna as Vyasadeva. 37 is Buddha. So here, Prabhupada again makes an interesting point here that in this incarnation of Lord Buddha is not the same Buddha incarnation we have in the present history of mankind. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Buddha incarnation mentioned in this verse appears in a different Kali age. Okay, so here it is mentioned about this Buddha that the Lord will bewilder away. So this is not simply for non-violence, ahimsa. When the atheists, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge, annihilate inhabitants of different planets, of course that's also another type of violence only. But when the atheists, they destroy other inhabitants of other planets, flying unseen in the sky on well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder the minds by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub-religious principles. So there are these. So of course this is different Kali Yugas. So this is in another Kali Yuga. The Lord came as this Buddha, and of course in this Kali Yuga we have this Buddha also. And 38 is Kalki, at the end of Kali Yuga.
This Buddha is not Vishnu's incarnation, who came 3,000 years back.
No, that is also Krishna's incarnation. But that's what Prabhupada is writing now. But this Buddha is in different Kali Yuga, that's all. Both are Krishna's incarnation only, but different Kali Yugas, not this present Kali Yuga.
There is a controversy regarding this Buddha.
There are a lot of controversies not here.
Can I ask one question related?
Afterwards. Okay, so and then 39th is the last verse. So he talks about at the creation there are penance, myself, Brahma, and the Prajapatis, the great sages who generate, then given the maintenance of the creation by Lord Vishnu. The demigods with controlling powers and the kings of different planets, but at the end that is irrelevant, and then Lord Shiva and the atheists full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the supreme power of the Lord. So all these different incarnations come at different times. They're all manifestations of the energy of the supreme power of the Lord. Okay, fine. So we'll take a break now, and then we will continue. And we will 10 minutes break, and then we'll continue till about 1:15, 1:20. We'll continue. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada.